All right, guys, we are here with Brett and Joshua of the Juliana Theory. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Excellent.
Good, good, good. So, how does it feel being back together as a band? Does it almost feel kind of like a rebirth for you guys?
I think it does feel like 2.0 in a weird way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. What about you, Josh?
Definitely. It definitely does. It's like we took such a long time off that there's no other way to describe it other than 2.0. It's,
Yeah.
new vibe, new everything kind of just, yeah, it feels good.
I like that. Very awesome. It's great to have you guys back. We like it. We're looking forward to all the shows and yeah, it's great. So, I was, creeping on your guys' Twitter, of course. What did it feel like when you guys got verified on Twitter for the Juliana theory? Did you realize? Did you notice? Like, how did that feel for you?
I don't even think I noticed until you just told me. Brett
Oh, that's
probably did
funny.
though.
I
I'm
don't,
not.
I can't say I necessarily remember when it happened, or how it happened, or if we had. I don't think we had anything to do with it. I think it just happened one day, and I think I think that was a something we're like, oh, cool. But I feel like for us, a bigger Twitter highlight for us recently was not long ago. The Penguins like tweeted at us or something and like said they're at the top of the world or something like that, and we were like, oh, okay, now we've officially made it in Twitter land as far as we are concerned.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's always great. As you know, we're the home of the pen, so it's just we love them. We have a great connection with them too, so that's exciting stuff. So you guys are in town this Saturday at Mr. Smalls, only 2 days away. Crazy. And you're about
Right.
halfway through your current tour. So what's more exciting as a lead up? Your first show together for tour or coming to Pittsburgh for more of your hometown show?
That's a pretty tough call for me. I'd say they're almost a tie. I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
It is actually I put like the hometown shows usually a little step above, especially like the beginning tour, you're like working out kinks and is this gonna sound right? And there's that kind of worrisome stuff. And usually when we put a show at home, it's usually in the middle or at the end. So you already know everything's working and you get to hang out with friends and family. And yeah, that's usually the Pittsburgh shows are a step up for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, you really have like that connection. It's like, oh, we're here.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you guys for sure this Saturday. It's going to be great. So your current tour is on your most groundbreaking album, Emotion is Dead. How does it feel touring off of this album from over 20 years ago?
I think it's interesting. It feels flattering in many ways because when we made the record, I don't think, most of us were basically around the age of 20. So to think that double the age that we were when we made it, that we would still be, that there would be people that wanted to, come and hear those songs or sing along that many years later. I'm not sure that we ever would have really even imagined that at the time. So it's easier now to kind of look back and go, oh yeah, we're playing this record from that long ago. But if we look at it through the eyes of our younger selves, I don't think we ever would have even honestly even thought that would be a thing that could happen.
Definitely not. It's almost like you're like gonna just took a quick little time machine back and experience something, same emotions that we had back then. And it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, that I bet that's a crazy feeling, but that's so great that you guys are having, that still like successful vibes with tour that you did back then. And, I'm sure you're picking up a lot of new fans as well along the way, which is awesome stuff for sure. Um, so what can we expect from you guys moving forward? Like after tour, are we going to be getting some new music or?
We can't say too much, but there's definitely new music coming.
I like the sounds of that. I'm sure a lot of listeners are going to be pretty stoked about that for sure. um, so do your songs that you guys are performing now, for your Emotion is Dead tour, or I'm sorry, Emotion is the Everglow, but you know, your album. Do you guys like carry the same feelings or messages like they did from the past? Or is it kind of like a sense of tapping into the past and channeling that up on stage now?
I think it's honestly, I think it's a little bit of both personally, because certain lyrics will take on a different meaning, at least to me, when I'm singing them. Sometimes I feel a way that it's a little hard to explain, but you know, there's a lyric in the song, "This Is Your Life," where it basically says, "Moments only temporary, let too many go, and you'll be history too." And that just kind of, it means, I think it means a lot more to me, um, you know, 20 years later than it did then, because obviously there's that much more time has passed. And so you realize that you thought time was valuable when you're 20 years old, but when you're 40, time is even that much more valuable. So I think sometimes it's just, definitely sometimes I'm feeling nostalgic feelings, but also sometimes I'm just feeling the songs in a different light, I would say.
Yeah, that's what about you, Josh?
Yeah, same. It's really, it's, I, go along with Brett on that part, so I know some of the original lyrics and everything would have a different meaning for Brett because he was
Yeah.
always the lyricist of the band. But yeah, for sure. It's all good.
Very nice. That's very a very insightful way to put it too. I like that. So now here's another tough question. What is your favorite part about tour so far? And what are your merch must-haves?
That's a good question. Merch must have, well, favorite parts about tour is just like just being around like everybody just hanging out, going out to eat with the guys. Um, that's always, it's just like a little piece missing, when you're not on tour or you're home, you're just kind of missing your like brothers in a way. So that's probably like part one. And obviously part two is the performing aspect, it's just being on stage. It's like a high that you can't get from anything else. It's like, it's a specific, very specific feeling that only being on stage, or I guess you equate it to, a professional sports player, when they're, playing on a stadium or in an ice hockey rink or, anything like that. It's like that for me. So.
Very awesome. How about you, Brett?
Josh said it very succinctly. I could, there's very little I could add to that for sure. I think that's exactly right. You have there's a brotherhood that comes with playing music with people on the stage. And it's just sometimes the feeling of having like an elated feeling after you play a great show and everybody's super tired and my voice is sore, and maybe Josh is like, "Oh, my knees hurt," but you look around and all of us are like feeling like, "Wow, that was really fun. That was really great. Hey, do you remember when we looked out into the crowd and they all sang that one part we weren't expecting, or everybody was laughing at that one thing we said?" Or it's just like those little moments are really cool and they're really magical. And yeah, and as far as merch must-haves, I think right now, since it's starting to get warm, I mean, starting to get cool, it's time for some hoodies, I would say. Gotta have those long sleeve t-shirts and those hoodies.
Oh, those are always one of my favorites to get for sure because they last so much longer too. And you got the coziness. I love that.
They do.
Yeah. So now I just got one more question. And with you guys being a local band, originally rooted down here in the Pittsburgh area, do you have any advice for local bands to, really make it big, get the touring across the states and everything like that?
I think I think the thing that matters most is just writing good songs if you can, and just honing your skills. And we were really, really lucky to come up in a time period where Western Pennsylvania had an extremely vibrant local music scene, and we would be 14, 15, 16 years old, and we would play shows almost probably 2-3 times a month all around, all ages clubs in outside of Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, Monroeville, Latrobe, Greensburg, Irwin, Derry, just anywhere around. And you'd play with bands that were kind of all different styles and sounds. And I think we learned a lot about what not to do and what to do about little things like, oh, you break a string, what do you do if you don't have a backup guitar on stage? Or what do you do if something goes bad? And playing that many local shows, I think honestly kind of taught us how to be able to, like, we played a lot around the area in the Juliana Theory, and even before that in our earlier bands before we ever even went out on tour. And so I think just honestly honing your skills, writing the best songs you can, trying to do something that somebody else isn't doing so you stand out to a degree, and then just build up a fan base wherever you can, and then try to grow it from there. I feel like
That's great advice. I mean, excuse me, software updates trying to come on my computer. Okay. I think that's great advice. Especially with, we have Edge of the X, where we have local bands every night, 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. We usually feature 2 a night. And it's just so great. I love being in this and helping you guys, all these local bands just have the airtime, get where they need to be. I'll retweet you guys left and right. If you ever tweet at me, I'll for sure tweet whatever's coming up on mine and the station's account. So that's really great to hear. And I'm glad that you guys had that advice for local bands. So is there anything else that you guys would like to add before your show on Saturday?
Nothing that I can think of particularly too crazy.
Yeah, nothing too much. It's a Steelers bye week, so we can't really say much about that. So just go Pens, and hopefully see people Saturday. It'll be awesome.
Yes, for sure. Well, this was Brett and Joshua with the Juliana Theory. They are going to be in town this Saturday at Mr. Small's Theater. I will be sure when I post this, I will include a ticket link so you guys will be all hooked up. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today.
Thank you,
Brandy.
Yeah, see you guys.
See you later.